South Africa, let's go to South Africa, has intensified lockdown regulations, especially in the coastal city of Durban and the wider Kwa-Zulu Natal province, to prevent the spread of coronavirus.
And now this is because the province has recorded 21 of the 52 coronavirus-related deaths in the country and more than 600 infections. It has been identified as a hotspot for locally transmitted cases.
It will be recalled that South Africa's main opposition party had criticized the decision to extend the nationwide lockdown until the end of April because of creating economic disaster.
Anyway, the country's in a recession already. The country, which has been under a lockdown with an extension, is believed to have the most stringent lockdown restrictions in the world. No jogging outside, no sales of alcohol or cigarettes, no dog walking, no leaving home except for essential tips, and prison or heavy fines for law-breaking people.
Very tight indeed. And notwithstanding, foreign nationals, including Nigerians, are observing that lockdown. How they are surviving away from home is a source of concern during this pandemic. And joining us now to look at the survival of Nigerians in South Africa in this COVID-19 pandemic is the president of Nigerian Union of South Africa, NUSA. Thank you so much, Mr. Olubajo, for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the viewers.
Indeed. Well, over 3,400 infections currently in South Africa. I wonder if you know if there are any Nigerians in the country infected in these numbers. And we do know that before this pandemic, there were frosty relationships between South Africa and Nigeria. Is that playing out in COVID-19 situation at the moment?
First of all, there is to the best of our knowledge, any Nigerians that have been infected with the coronavirus, the COVID-19, and no death recorded so far. I am actually in contact with the Nigerian Doctors Forum, and we are exchanging notes at every point in time to monitor the statistics and then to see if there is any Nigerians that have actually been infected and give support where necessary. But so far, there is no Nigerian infected. There is no death of any Nigerian that is known to us. On the issue of the relationship, I think it is time for all of us to come together, and that is what is happening as we speak now. Because the infection doesn't know any nationality. So the government is doing everything possible to actually protect everybody, irrespective of whether you are citizen or non-citizen.
Just to pick up from what Adetola has said, talking about the relationship between Nigerians and South Africans, we do know that even during a time like this, where there's a lockdown, there's usually an increased rate of crime being seen in such areas. And I know that there's a strict lockdown effect in South Africa. However, there are certain cases where people would tend to take advantage of that to begin to exhibit those xenophobic tendencies towards Nigerians and other nations, other African nations that currently reside in South Africa. Are you seeing any cases like that? And are you in constant communication with the Nigerian government for people who may want to return to Nigeria in a time like this?
The crime rates have actually gone down drastically because of the partial lockdown, because there's movement of essential workers. So there is any case of xenophobic attack or a kind of taking advantage of this kind of situation, because everybody is being monitored by the South African Police Service and the Defense Force to make sure that the lockdown is being respected. Yes, there have been some pocketed cases where some shops were looted, a liquor store, and then there is another grocery store that was looted, but the government is actually on top of it. And the Nigerian government here have written out a notice that any Nigerian that wants to come back home should indicate, and they provided numbers. So we spread that to our people, and so far I've not seen anyone, because we are spread across all the provinces and major towns in South Africa. So no one has come forward to us to say that they want to go back to Nigeria so far. Only a case that an email was sent to us, and then he's just a visitor, And we had to advise him that you are not going to be penalized because of the expiration of your visa. And so that's the only case that I have on my table.
I mean, at least from what you have said, COVID is bringing a lot of sanity to the system. It was quite cheery when you said there's been a reduction in crime rate in South Africa. So I was quite happy about that. I want to talk about palliatives. There are a lot of Nigerians that are in South Africa that are living in abject poverty, you know, across the areas, the shacks and some other parts of South Africa. How are you guys reaching out to them in terms of palliatives, you know, maybe those living in the ghettos of Soweto and the likes and other things like that? How are you reaching out to them? What do you have for them?
The Nigerian Union South Africa, we actually came up with a program. Immediately the lockdown was President Cyril Ramaphosa, and then the program was a distribution of food package that we are taking it from one place to another in different provinces. What we do is to buy basic materials, and this was solely funded by people within the community. We had to contact our board of trustees and some members of the community that are well-to-do to come to our aid. So some of them donate material, some of them donate cash, and we use it to get rice, milli meal, a lot of things. There are about 14 items that are basics that can take people like 10 kg of rice, 5 kg of milli meal, and some other things that can help people to actually go through this lockdown period. And so we did not only do it in Pretoria and Johannesburg, which is our 10th province, we did it in all the provinces. And then we use our structure to distribute this. And the distribution is still going on. In fact, I am in constant communication with some of our sponsors that we need more because the request is overwhelming. And so the community is united because after we started, we need to tell other Nigerian organizations that they need to start doing the same thing, which they have come to the party. The Egbe Omoriba has done that. The Igbo groups have done that. Even the Akwa Ibom, most of the communities, they are being their brother's keeper. And we are more united and more helpful to ourselves, even more than before now.
Well, indeed, we also know that in CASA, the Nigerian Citizens Association in South Africa also came on board during the Easter period. But let me ask you, Mr. Olubajo, how constant is this palliative being given, and what are the challenges for you in reaching the Nigerians? I also saw a report that you even go beyond Nigerians in South Africa. I did see a report of, I think, a Liberian family who received the palliative from Nusa and Nkasa.
Yes, the distribution, there is no discrimination in it. Because we are living in South Africa, and hunger doesn't know nationality, though our focus majorly is on our people. But a situation whereby we have South Africans, Congolese, and some other nationals coming forward to say they need help, we also give to them. One of the challenges that we have faced so far is a fund to actually reach out to more people. And this is being taken care of by some members of the community who are actually coming forward now to make sure that they donate to it. So we are moving. We are moving from provinces to provinces. In fact, in Northern Cape, deep down up in Tim, that is about 14 hours drive from Pretoria. We did a give to locals and Nigerians yesterday. So the thing continues on everyday basis. So it's not a thing of once off. We are still continuing it. By next week, we'll roll out another measures because more people have collected food, and there are people that have not collected. There are people that need other assistance, and we are making ourselves available to assist them at this period.
Okay, very good. I'm excited to see the palliative, quite also for that. Let's talk about Nigerian students in South Africa. When the lockdown happened, a lot of them might still have a short back in their hostels, or were they allowed to go out or to come back to the communities? How are they coping at a point in time like this? And also, I want to talk about the mental health of a lot of Nigerians in South Africa, because the lockdown in South Africa is about the steepest in the world, no jogging, no going out there and the likes. Then it's definitely going to affect the mental health of a lot of Nigerians out there. How are you coping with that?
Firstly, on the issue of the students, when we started this our program, we actually involve the students, and the students on their own, the student organization, that's the National Association of Nigerian Students, they raise funds in which we, Nigerian Union, also contributed to it, to reach out to students through their structure, because they have branches in each of the universities. Apart from that, there are some students who are non-aligned to the organization. I was the one that led the delegation to Auckland Park in Johannesburg to actually distribute some of these food materials to Nigerian students there. So we run an open door policy to say that call a particular number or send WhatsApp message or you send us email, then we are able to reach out to you. So that is what we are doing. On the case of the issue of mental health of Nigerians, the Nigerian Doctors Forum, like I said, they are actually trying as much as possible to pass out information and give advice on how some of these mental health issues can be taken care of. And we are maintaining physical distance, but when it comes to social media distance, we are actually very, very close to one another. There are a lot of groups that have been created on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on different. In fact, we constantly had Zoom meetings, and we encourage other people, because the feedback I'm getting is that quite a number of people, they need somebody to actually talk to. And some of our people also, they are part of the essential part of the community. So they are as well working. A lot of them are working. For example, now, I am always on the move to actually make sure that we respond to the issues, our challenges that is our people are facing.
I mean, the government is very aware of the impact that this lockdown has had on, the social facets, political facets, but most importantly, the economic facets of their lifestyles. Now, I want to ask you how Nigerian business owners have been surviving amidst this lockdown. But before you answer that, let's go on a quick break. And when we come back, we will continue this conversation. Join us again. You're watching The Morning Show. Welcome back to The Morning Show here on Arise News. We're still joined by Mr. Adetola Olubajo, the president of the Nigerian Union, South Africa, NUSA. Now, before the break, I was talking to you about, the economic effects of this lockdown on Nigerian citizens in South Africa. Now, we do know that governments have held businesses and employees with various financial and policy interventions. Now, is that something that you're looking at? I mean, in the US, for example, the aviation sector was given a bailout fund. In the UK, we did see Boris Johnson giving MSMEs a bailout as well. Is this something that you are looking into?
It is something of worry to us, because the government of South Africa just recently injected 500 billion, that's about 10 trillion naira, into the economy to actually help to relieve the people. And this is majorly for the citizens. So Nigerian businesses, most especially the informal businesses, we know quite sure that they may not be able to survive this aftermath of this pandemic, most especially the lockdown. And then this is something that we are engaging some of the business, the major business people here, as well as a group of people, association, professional association, to see how they can cushion the problem that is actually that are before the business. But one thing is very sure, they will not survive, because so many of those businesses has been stopped for weeks now, almost a month. And I think this is the 25th or 26th day. They have not been opening. And those who are opening, they are opening partially. And those who are engaged, those are the ones that are engaging in essential services. And the relief program of the government is very comprehensive, but is majorly for South African citizens. So we are still going to engage more and even escalate it to our government to see how these businesses can be helped to actually take off again when the country is open for business.
I just have a quick follow-up to what Shaita brought, a very integral issue there, because a lot of Nigerians in South Africa own what you guys know to be spaza shops in South Africa. They run the small shops. What are you guys doing for them? Because that's what a lot of them run, the small grocery shops and the likes, and that's how they keep body and soul together. Is that money going to trickle down to them, even if they don't have South African passport or they have South African passports?
Some businesses are going to benefit, and those are big business Nigerian businesses. And you know, some of these, the owner of these businesses are already permanent residents or citizens, and then some of them, very few of them, but those pasta shops that you're talking about, they are mostly informal, and they will not benefit from the government relief program. And some of them are even opening now. And like I said, there is a plan in place for us to be able to cushion them. It may not be to save them of all their losses. So immediately we are able to get go ahead from our partners that we are currently discussing with. We have written out letters, even to social development, to different departments, to say that our people are worst hit, one of the worst hit in the country. So we want a situation whereby they will be assisted. And so as soon as we get a positive response, we are going to make sure that we gather them and then assist them with some takeoff grants.
Apart from announcing the 500 billion rands stimulus yesterday in his address, President Cyril Ramaphosa also talked about special grants to households, individuals, to include even child support. And it says people should approach SASSA, which is the South Africa Social Security Agency. Are Nigerians also benefiting from that, or do you still feel left out from all of those? And earlier, when you were responding to my palliative question, you said the major challenge you're facing is that of funding. How do you hope to close that funding gap? And who are you reaching out to? And what is your plight at this time? What is the most significant call you're making to the Nigerian government using this platform?
On the issue of the SASSA, the social development, the grants in every category that have been mentioned by the government is meant for the citizens. These are people that are poor, that are less privileged, that are at the lowest level of the economy, and they have already been registered because there is a very sound social security system here, wherein there is a grant for old people, child grants. There's different types of grants, and these are the people that the South African president is actually addressing. But when it comes to Nigerians, the migrants, they are not included in these grants. And like I said before, we are actually reaching out to this same social development and some other organizations. There are some individuals that have shown interest to actually help. What we are asked to do is to collate some of these people that are being affected. And we are reaching out to them. And also, there are lots of meetings that is going on that we are having with major business owners here that can actually help the small businesses. And on the area of the government, we will continue to call on the government, like I said earlier, that the government needs to come to our aid. They need to devise means in which they will help those who have been affected, worstly affected. We can actually provide their statistics to them, their information, to actually help them. And the first thing first, which is very paramount to us, is how they will survive this lockdown. And the government can come to the aid, because there are many ways to do which the government can raise funds and also do this the same thing that we are doing and help our people.
Right. Prior to this time, the South African economy wasn't already in a recession. Two things. I want to know the economic mood. Three, in all of this you've just been saying liaison conversations, liaison. I've not heard you mention the Nigerian embassy in South Africa. What is happening? Aren't they helping out and reaching out? Because it's some of like this palliative you're talking about. I thought that Nigerian embassy in South Africa should be able to lead the frontiers of, distribution and the likes and other things like that. Is everything smooth?
On the issue of the Nigerian embassy, there is a mode of communication, which I said. They communicated that the embassy communicated that whoever is interested in leaving South Africa to Nigeria evacuation, though they are going to pay for their transportation to Nigeria. But so far, there have not been any communication. That I can tell you. There have not been any communication so far from either the embassy or the High Commission or the consulate.
They've not asked about how Nigerians are doing. You, as the president, the Nigerian embassy in South Africa has not even asked you about the welfare of Nigerians. Is that what you're telling me?
No. Yes, that's correct. There have not been any communication. They have locked down, and then there have not been any communication other than those who are willing to go back home, that they are going to give them helping hands. But when it comes to relief materials or how to help Nigerians, we have not actually, I think maybe they are still planning something, or maybe they are satisfied with what we are doing so far, but they've not done anything. Because if something has been done, at least Nigerians will have received things. And I'm using this opportunity to call on them also, that this thing cannot be done by one organization or few Nigerians that are coming to the aid of Nigerians now. They can actually throw their weight behind some of these programs so that they can be able to reach more people, because we are the one on ground. We see what is going on, and we know what it is for small businesses, people to cope. So we are calling on them through this medium to please come to the aid of Nigerians in South Africa.
Thank you very much. It's quite an unfortunate development to hear that there's no communication between the embassy in South Africa and residents, Nigerians in South Africa. But we do hope that through this medium they've heard that cry and they will come to their aid. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Olubajo, for coming on the show today. Keep safe in South Africa.